All right, what's up, y'all? I'm gonna talk to y'all about Christianity today. Main reason, um, not only is it an important topic for many reasons, but more importantly, it's strange to me how you see so much radical Christianity coming to the forefront of our politics, and it's kind of something that went downhill over the years, where it got taken out of schools. You didn't really hear sure, they'll do their typical one nation under God shit, but usually they they haven't really it hasn't really been in mainstream politics for quite some time. And now you've seen this resurgence in I don't know how to say it, but um not flamboyant, but just this over need to bring it up. You know what I mean? Like, as if we all forgot that we're a Christian nation. Um, as if we needed a reminder from our politicians. Like, we didn't need a reminder from you guys. We didn't need Charlie Kirk. We didn't need uh, Donald Trump's new little section of government he put in, where he's got uh, these holy healers that you can pay money for and all that. Um, I don't know. Anytime something like this that comes out of the blue, it makes me pause and question. And that's the thing. Now, had Christianity been this strong in the forefront of our government for the past 20 years, maybe, or for the past 30 years, 40 years, um, maybe it wouldn't be so suspicious. But when all of a sudden we get a president who, I don't know about you guys, but it seems to me that when Donald Trump decided to run for president, everyone in America forgot who he used to be. Or is it just me? What about this guy was Christian? What about when this guy was a businessman? Was he God, God, God? When he was building the Trump towers, did he say God told him to do it? God helped him build those towers. You see what I'm saying? So to me, anytime somebody comes out of the blue, with career politicians, it's easy to hide them because they've kind of always been hidden under this cover of politicians and government and office. And so a lot of times when you have career politicians, they only talk about politics. We don't really humanize them very much. But when you get somebody like Trump, or if you were to get a Kanye West, now, because these people are public figures and they're celebrities, Donald Trump's a celebrity, make no mistake about it, um, which is hilarious for multiple reasons. Um, we know more about their past life. You see what I'm saying? Not just where they went to school at and who their dad was. Nah, we know because they've been in the public light. They've let themselves get exposed, because when you're a celebrity, you kind of gotta have some exposure if you want to be a celebrity. That's kind of the name of the game. So with that being said, we know a lot about Trump, and there's nothing about Trump that was this braggadocious Christian, like this proud to be Christian. But he gets in office and he's speaking to a certain cut of society that are easily swayed by that. No offense. But a lot of the people that support Trump are easily swayed by that shit. They get easily swayed by that. And we all know that in America, it's like being Christian is like extra credit righteousness. You see what I'm saying? Like, if, for an example, if I'm a suspect in a crime, okay, you're going to start to look at things about me and make up your mind whether you think I did it or not. Right? If I go to your church and you've known me since I was a child and you know my family and we're all churchgoers and we do all the fake shit. Oh, he couldn't have done that. He's a Christian. You see what I'm saying? So like to me, I feel like anytime you see these people get up here and start to be like, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian. It's almost like Russell Brand, right? I don't know if you guys seen the episode he did with Candace Owens. I couldn't get through the whole thing because, no offense, but it was too big egos, big in their egos. You like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was actually it made me uncomfortable. I'm gonna be real with you. The episode made me uncomfortable. Not because of what Russell Brand supposedly did, because I have my own opinions on that, and they're probably not what you think. But because I don't just jump right to that. This is what I mean. Like you're not gonna catch me up in this. Oh, you were on the island. You're a pedo. You're a predator. Not everything is like that, bro. We've all been alive long enough. Not everything is like that. Understand that these people party just like a lot of us did when we were coming up. And a lot of crazy wild shit happens at parties, and a lot of people do crazy wild shit when they're under the influence of a lot of substances. So we got to understand the difference. We got to start to see the difference. Do I think Russell Brand did whatever he was accused of? I don't know. I don't really care if I'm keeping it 100 with you. Because for every guilty man, there's a woman fabricating the story and exaggerating the story, and everybody has an angle. So not everything is on the up and up. Just like in the same respect that when it comes to the topic of being a predator, we only look at men. Just like when it comes to the topic of being predator, we mostly look at white men. No statistics support any of that shit. So again, as a society, we've been brainwashed into thinking things for a lot of societal reasons. And the reason why I'm talking about this here on this topic is because I find it important. I find it related and I find it important. There's just as many women predators out there as there is men. It's just a double standard. And that's speaking from my own experience, my own life up to this point, and to all the things that I do know about this situation with the Epstein files that doesn't get talked about. Just like in any trafficking organization, a lot of times, if it weren't for women being involved, these operations wouldn't go as smoothly as they do. They wouldn't be as efficient as they are if it weren't for women's involvement. And for obvious reasons, because as a society, we're stupid, we're foolish, and we look at women like cute little babies that we got to protect. And that's not reality. When When are we going to allow women to grow up in our minds and become adults? When are we going to see the behaviors and all the mean girl circles and all the preppy circles and all the cool girl circles and the very nasty, mean, cruel, ignorant shit that they do and start holding them accountable? When are we going to see the women who flirt with their friends' male children and harass and sexualize male children who are underage? When are we going to start talking about that? When are we going to start talking about men being exploited for their looks and their sex drive? When are we going to talk about the double standard? When are we going to be honest? When are we going to be not psyoped group thinkers who follow whatever everybody else is saying in the day for it to all change tomorrow? And then 10 years down the road, we have no self-identity and nobody knows who they are anymore. And we wonder why the government has their foot so far on the back of our necks that we've been dead for years and we just haven't realized it yet. Because that's the only reason this Epstein shit went as far as it went in the first place. Not because of them, because of us. Because of us. We're the masses. If we wanted to change shit, we could all get together and march right up to the Capitol and shut shit down, and they couldn't do a thing about it. Ain't nothing they could do to stop millions of people outside of bombing us. So at some point, all this has to turn into something else. All this has to turn into something else. When do we exhaust awareness? You feel what I'm saying? Like everything's an awareness thing. Awareness. Like, first off, you're being presumptuous. You're just assuming that everybody's stupid until you come out and talk about something. Like the drug epidemic. Like, I didn't need somebody to come up and have a parade about drugs for me to know how much drugs was fucking up my community. I didn't need somebody to come out and do a parade and wear a ribbon and let a balloon go in the air to let me know about what drugs was doing in my own household. You see what I'm saying? So again, when are we going to do something about it? In the Bible, it says faith without works is dead, right? We ain't working. We ain't doing nothing. We're just talking. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we're watching this episode with Russell Brand and Candace Owens, and the whole time he's talking about God, and Jesus, and he's clearly being fake. You know what I mean? And he was talking about it in a way that made me so uncomfortable. You know, it's like just the tone, and he's not wearing a shirt. And the whole time he's stroking Candace Owens' ego for her looks. And it's so weird. It's so troubling. But, you know, this is where we're at. Just like how I said in one of my previous videos, like the type of message that Charlie Kirk was pushing was that of a radical Christian who does not see a gray area when it comes to the Bible. He's somebody who takes it literal the way he was taught it, the way he understands it, and he does not bend on that, which I respect. So don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing Charlie Kirk. I actually admire that he wanted to go on campus and talk and all of that. I think we exaggerate his importance because, again, this is how groupthink works. Like, the guy did no charities. He actually used a non-profit organization to profit and make his money. So let's chill with all this wanting to name a street after him and, make him some kind of modern day MLK. He wasn't that. He's not that. um, he's none of that. He's not a modern day JFK either. So we just need to chill with that. Was what he was preaching inherently good? Sure. I couldn't find nothing wrong with his messaging or what he was trying to get across or what he believed in, what he felt. I don't share a lot of his same viewpoints or beliefs when it comes to the Bible or how it's interpreted, but that doesn't mean I can't respect his journey or I can't appreciate what he would bring to the table for what he believed in and what the greater good he was wanting to see in the world. There's never anything wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? You drive a truck to work, I drive a car to work. The point is we both got there. It don't matter how we get there. That's how I see things. It's just, again, when it becomes a movement that goes beyond and it's different than what we've watched. You see what I'm saying? If you go back to Obama, you go back to George Bush Jr. and keep going back and find me the president that made Christianity such a big staple of what they were getting behind, what their movement was. You're dealing with a businessman. Remember that. So you're dealing with somebody who's clever. They understand marketing. They understand how people think. Because if you're going to be in a business that relies on what we consume, if you're going to run your businesses on what people want, because that's how businesses are ran, otherwise they're not successful. So even if his business isn't successful, he still has to put time into knowing people's patterns, what they like, what they go for, what tricks them into wanting something. These are all things that exist as job titles for a reason. And the problem I have is when it comes out of the blue, it should be a cause for concern. But instead of it being a cause of concern, we're all sitting on the sideline clapping. And but a lot of people will have you believe like he's some kind of savior. So already you're starting to tread that line of false idol, right? So this is my thing, like hypocrisy. I saw a lady at one of the bullshit press conferences where they have all the people sitting in this big room that kind of looks like a church, but it's not. I think it's called Congress. And somebody sits up there and they're like, hypocrisy is just running rampant. Like, yeah, no shit. It's been running rampant because it was designed that way. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't designed to be transparent or, like, oh, you didn't read the fine print down here. And that's like the same with all the leaked documents. Anything that your government gives you is redacted. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Stargate. So much of that got redacted. Any UFO files that they release, it's going to be redacted. Anything that they give you, they're going to go through and make sure that they're only giving you what they want to let you have. So again, this is like a lack of intelligence that we're having a problem with here in this country. It's not a lack of intelligence because we're not intelligent people. It's just a lack of critical thinking because we lean and rely so heavily on media for our knowledge, and we put our knowledge and our faith in a figure, an image of what we want something to be or what we want someone to be instead of what it actually is. because it soothes our beliefs, it soothes our feelings. Feelings ain't got no business in it. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with your feelings. And this is the problem when this is what our government turns into. I remember when Trump ran the first time, everybody's getting a kick out of him. And I'm like, yeah, it's a big difference in shit being funny and shit being what we need as a country. He's funny, sure. But is that what we're putting our money into? Is that what we're putting our beliefs into? Because he has no filter? Because he's a 80-year-old man who lacks impulse control? And that's something like, wow, yeah, it's funny. It's funny when your grandfather has a fit, right? It's haha, it's funny. But I wouldn't put somebody like that in office to run a country. So to me, it's like the same shit with Bush. We spent more time laughing at him for all the dumb shit he was saying and how stupid he was. Or was he just playing an act? You see what I'm saying? Was he just playing a dumb, simple Southern man that I'm everybody's man. I'm all y'all. I'm just like you guys. I'm just a man from Texas, like to farm, wear my cowboy hat and golf. Like the shit don't even make sense. Your lifestyle don't even make sense with what you're pretending to be for us or what we're fantasizing you are, because you're not that. You see what I'm saying? So the real good old boys I know, they don't fucking golf for starters. So I mean, it's like this is the thing. Like they're in the winning favor, public opinion business. It's not in the actual facts or reality of what they are or what they're gonna do. Because the first opportunity they get, they go bomb some shit, blow some shit up, steal some shit, kill some people, don't care who, and they don't face no consequences after the fact. They don't face any consequences if it was proved to be facetious or they lied or the motives were different. And then they'll just say God and country at the end and we'll all cheer. And then our sons, fathers, brothers, nephews, whoever's are going to go over there and get blown up and killed. And for what? As much as we fought for oil and as much as we went over there and bombed shit and stole shit and all this and that and the third, you would think that we would see some kind of financial improvement. The media can lie and twist shit all they want to, but I don't see how. This is my thing too. Like a lot of the people that voted for Trump, like his core base, they're not buying fucking stocks. They don't care about the stock market because they're everyday people. And that's the tragedy, is they got behind somebody like that thinking that because he said all the right things about God and bringing it back to America, and it just puts that little sweetener on stuff. You know what I mean? If you sit here and tell everybody how you state the obvious, like we outsourced everything. America is so dependent on everybody else. We need to be independent again. We need to bring industry back to America. But then you align yourself with Elon, who is the opposite. His what he's looking to do is the polar opposite of what you just said. So it doesn't even coexist. Like the ideals don't even match. And people can't see through that. Just like how I found it funny how, again, Trump's base audience, his base support group, they hate hate electric. They hate electric cars. They hate electric power. They hate all that junk. They say it's all bullshit. It's all hoax. They said it costs more money. They said they burn more oil making the shit. They have a lot of good, reasons. I agree with them about a lot of it. So why? Because Trump endorsed Elon, you guys changed your tune. Now you guys liked Elon because Trump told you to like him when he literally represents everything that you hate or dislike. Hate's a strong word, but this is what politics brings out of people. Hate. Don't blame me for it. I'm just seeing what I see. When anytime family members cut each other off over this shit, that's hate. Anytime people get divorced about this shit, that's hate. That's something else. That's not a difference of opinion. That's hatred. So just consider it. Don't fall for it just because it sounds good. Just like he's in the files, but he's the only one that's the conspiracy, right? He's the only one. He's the only one that's getting set up. He's protecting his friends. That's what they want to say. He's protecting his people that he put in power with him. So you mean he didn't know? For these people that got so much damn money and so much reach, they sure don't know a lot of shit when it's crunch time. You ever notice that? So just please. I can't deal with that. The notion that he did nothing. Yeah, he's guilty of covering it up. He's guilty of lying to y'all about it. He's guilty of manipulating you guys to think that he was going to be this righteous crusader who was going to swoop in here and hang all the pedos at the gallows. Like, he wasn't doing none of that shit because it's called suicide. And at the same respect, how can you campaign off something? You would imagine that, he had all this intel. Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible what these people are doing. He's just so nonchalant about it. He's just going to come in and just clean it up. Nobody's going to jail, just so you guys know. Nobody's been arrested. Not here. I don't give a shit about no Prince. Well, don't even bring that up to me, please. Because for one thing, ain't nothing going to happen to that guy. Or he wouldn't have got released. That was just a pacifier. They just keep handing you pacifiers. Pacifiers and war. Pacifiers and look at the stock market. Who gives a shit about the stock market for it to change tomorrow when we get a snowstorm? Nobody cares. Just like Epstein said, that shit only insider trading. That's the only way it works. It don't work no other way. Same thing I said about sports and Vegas. It's too much money on the line for everything to be left to a chance. You guys gotta think deep. Conspiracy works well. The conspiracy theory, that's the only hoax going, because that's the only thing that's kept us ignorant and blind to the truth. Because you have a section of people who have always believed, and you have a large, and I mean large, group of people who just don't. They make it their sole purpose to discredit anything that seems far-fetched, anything that seems, and that's my whole problem with all of it anyway, is I don't understand why it's so far-fetched. Your neighborhood's full of them, Chief. Like, y'all forgot high school? Y'all didn't go to high school or what? Because, like, come on. Everything that we are is a microcosm of what they are, what they do, the policies they implement, the tone they set. So why would you be so surprised? With all that money and power, why would you be so surprised? I know people who did that shit their whole lives and never got in trouble. Tons of them. Could throw a rock and hit one without looking. So, again, and not to mention, and I know this is hard to swallow, but there was a lot more crucial, important shit going on with them people in them islands than just sex. We as a society just have this, like, we are so restricted. We're so oppressed. You know what I mean? So we all still have that, like, age old, like, panic when it comes to sex. We got to grow the fuck up. You know what I mean? We got to grow up and be real with ourselves about shit. Because that's the only thing. Like, the government's sitting there saying to themselves, y'all coming after us for being dishonest. And 99% of y'all live dishonestly every day. That's just facts. You can bring your ego into it and you can make it about your ego, but it has nothing to do with ego. It has to do with everything that you can't handle yourself. You see what I'm saying? So if you can't handle it, then you can't acknowledge it. You won't see it in anybody else. That's living in fear. You're living in fear. And it's because, being real, a lot of stuff happened to a lot of us when we were growing up and we never recovered from it. So it's a trigger inside of us that never goes away because we just can't find acceptance. We can't find acceptance. We can't find forgiveness. We can't find peace. We can't find a lesson to learn. We can't find anything useful out of that shit. So we just hold on to it. And it distorts our perception of our sexuality. It distorts our perception of how it shows up. It distorts our perception of how we see God. It distorts our perception of how we see our fellow man and woman. So that's what they prey on the most because they know how delicate it is. I'm not discrediting that fact because it is delicate. I personally believe it's something that should be shared between two souls that want to spend their life together. That's what it's there for. That's what it's meant for. That's who it's reserved for. It's not a thing to just do like going over your friend's house and throwing the football around. It's not just the thing you do like hop in your car with your friends and go to Starbucks and get a coffee and listen to music and talk about your week that just went by. That's not what that is. It's a lot more sacred than that. So I'm not a person who thinks it's just out here free for the world. Like, I'm not into that. But I also don't have restrictive views and beliefs about it either. It's like the same notion about, like, I don't have a problem with it. I don't care what the Bible says. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with the whole community that identifies as whatever they want to identify. And clearly that's excluding the child aspect. That has no place in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but us as a society, we just been brainwashed and groomed by our government, the entertainment industry, the fashion industry, We've been groomed by these billionaires too. You guys are like looking at the victims on the island, and I'm like sitting here talking about how we're all victims, because these are the people who make all these decisions about what gets regulated and what doesn't, what gets allowed and what isn't allowed. You see what I'm saying? Now, as far as Christians go, and this is why you can't just, jump every time somebody says they're a Christian and be like, oh, yay, you're a good guy. Think about it like this. How manipulated do you think the Bible is at this point, right here, right now? How manipulated do you think the Bible is? How much has it been manipulated? How confused are we at this point? How watered down is it at this point? How many preachers and pastors have twisted the words by now? How many governments have extorted it and used it as a big blanket to cover up everything else? I put it to you like this. So when the Christian Crusades happened, one of the key factors into their righteousness for the Crusades was to end slavery. They wanted to go free these slaves. That was one of their big standing points, was we need to go free these slaves. Then you flash forward hundreds of years later, and they trot over here, and these people are savages. Talking about the natives here. They're savages. They know no God. Their tradition is evil. They're evil people. Spooky, spooky. So they murder them. They give them smallpox. They have wars with them. They rape them. They breed them. They ship them off. They take the kids. They remove them from their parents. They send them to boarding schools and completely erase their traditions, their beliefs, their values, their practices. And how many generations go down the line to where these people have totally forgotten who they are, in a sense. How many traditions, because a lot like Wicca, a lot of the natives, it was word of mouth. So it was imperative that the family stay together, because one generation is passing the ways down to the next generation. It doesn't make it any less credible. It doesn't make it any less important. Who gives a shit if you wrote your shit in a book? Nobody cares. It doesn't make it more important because you could write in a book. They also carved into stone and did a lot of things. Christians decided that their beliefs weren't important. Christians decided that their beliefs made them less than a man. That's why they called them savages. Then flash forward, not very long into the future, they participate, these same people go and participate in slave trades. Also don't put it past them going over there and preying on weaker villages and weaker tribes and just stealing people. I'm not saying that didn't happen, so don't get all in a wad. But the facts are, it was slave trade. Whether you like it or not, they were being bought and sold from over there. Whether you like it or not. And slavery is something that's always existed. Every class, color, creed has it in their lineage, okay? But because we are in America, this is an important thing to discuss, because the thing is, in modern culture and in the modern world, it was one of the most horrible crimes ever committed. And that's a fact. So you're seeing a trend here. These Christians from the crown come over here and they get rid of the people that are here. And then they bring new people over here. And these new people they bring over here, they're going to be their free labor. So, again, there's the hypocrisy. You started the Crusades partially to free slaves, to stop oppression. But then your Crusades also create oppression and slavery. And that this isn't coming from my words. This is coming from their words. When they brought Africans over here, they whipped out their Bibles and they read them verses that told them to obey their master, and they were the master. They read verses that brainwashed them into thinking that they were less than them. And it goes on and on and on. Much like how I talked about Bacon's Rebellion and how the racial caste system got created in the first place to stop rebellion, to manipulate and brainwash and prevent future rebellion. And it was effective. It worked for a really long time. And had it not been for politics, I'm not sure how far slavery would have went. And when I say politics, I do mean politics, because that's all it had to do with. One side seeing an advantage to ending it, and the other side seeing that as an attack on their way of life. A lot came after that, but, I don't know Abraham Lincoln personally, so I can't say what his motives were. If he thought this was a way for him to get a big surge of votes, if he saw this as a way to completely take over his party, his side, to completely take over, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. It's no debate that it was a good thing, but at the same respect, if you're going to do something, do it all the way. Much like with affirmative action and desegregation. You implement things with no real plan of it actually working, or it actually being beneficial to the group that you're pretending to help. So, in my estimation, I think we need to really start to think heavily when it comes to Christianity, religions, the Bible, other beliefs, and we need to start thinking from scratch. It's like the same thing. They killed the natives. Before they killed the natives, they were already killing fellow Puritans who got here because they were witches. No. So you're going to tie up somebody who looks just like you or looks like your mother and burn them at the stake and steal their land and steal their homes, steal their kids. I'm just saying, this is just something that they've participated in as far back as you can read. Again, don't take nothing from me. Go read it for yourself. And stop manipulating the Bible. Try that. Don't desperately look to the Bible to justify your shit. If it felt good in your conscience, you wouldn't have to go reach for a Bible to justify what you're doing in the first place, correct? I don't. If I make a decision on something, I don't look to the Bible to justify my decision. I made the decision. If I'm confused about something, that's when I reach for my Bible. If I'm unsure about something, that's when I read the Bible. If I'm going to make a big decision about something, that's when I pray. It's not a after the fact thing. Pray first. That's what they say, right? You mean to tell me you praying before you go rape, pillage, and plunder? Sounds like you're praying to the devil to me. So I would just consider that. Anytime you see a big influx and radical Christian being shoved down your throat, anytime you see a big influx and a president out of the blue, just God this, Bible that, God word, I believe in God. Anytime you see his followers getting around him in this little Christian bubble, putting this big Christian bubble around him like he's some kind of second coming of Jesus Christ, you need to start asking a lot of questions. And then, come to find out, it's all disingenuous anyway. These people don't have any thing that they're standing on other than they hate crimes done to children. And it's like, I understand that. I understand that. But Jesus, come on. The school system exploits your kids. The FDA exploits your kids. The music industry exploits your kids. The fashion industry exploits your kids. The fitness community exploits your kids. The tobacco companies exploit your kids. The marijuana companies exploit your kids. Just come on. I don't know about where you guys are from, but where I'm from, they build Board of Eds before they build schools. They'll build a new Board of Education before they'll build a new school. So again, man, just stop with the kid stuff. Like everything is like the children, but nobody actually gives a fuck about the children when it comes down to it. So I'm tired of hearing it because it's a lie. It's bullshit. Just like I'm tired of hearing about God and Christian and everybody's got to say something about God to make their argument. It doesn't make you right just because you said God at the end of what you said. It doesn't make you right just because you said Jesus Christ. This was the point of me talking about the Russell Brand and Candace Owens thing in the first place, because it's like, come on, man. Y'all can't see through this shit. Just like I said before about her leaking the messages between herself, Candace Owens, and Charlie Kirk, where he's talking about time travel and Stargate and blowing out lights when he runs past them. That's blasphemy, bro. You talking about witchcraft. According to you, not according to me, because I believe totally different things. But this is what I'm saying. You follow these people and how stupid. When's the point when it's like, okay, if me and this guy are standing here and he says, hey, follow me. There's a big prize down here, but we got to walk like 10 miles. And then me and the guy walked 10 miles and it wasn't a prize. I got jumped. When do you guys have that moment? Where you're like, wait a second, hold up. You just said this like a week ago. Now you're saying this? Just like the lady in Congress said, hypocrisy is at an all-time high. It's running rampant. And that's part of your psyop that you don't understand is your psyop. You're being told what to think constantly. You're being told what to believe constantly. And then as soon as they change their mind, so do you. Or as soon as they say some off the wall shit, now because they said it, you want to go look into it. When before, when Joe Blow up the street tried to tell you about it, you laughed at him and called him crazy and told him he smoked too much weed. But because some celebrity with a lot of followers told you it, then now you're like, oh, I got to look into this stuff. It's serious business because such and such said so. When just a month ago they told you to stay away from that. That's the devil. That's blasphemy. No, right here in the Bible. Don't seek knowledge. Don't seek power. Don't seek truth. Don't seek this. Don't do that. And the whole time I'm laughing because it's like like our whole country is the devil. What are you talking about? We only worship false idol, money. That's all we do. So again, we worship celebrity, false idol. We worship presidents, false idol. We worship preachers and pastors and what they say about the Bible instead of reading it for ourselves, interpreting it for ourselves. Because I can point the flaws everywhere. I can manipulate and twist the Bible if I want it. Just like how it says don't practice witchcraft. You read the Bible and you see it says be a Christian. Somebody in the Bible said that, but it wasn't God. It said go be Christ-like. So if I'm gonna listen to God and I want to be Christ-like, I'm gonna read and see what Christ did. He turned water into wine. He healed. He taught knowledge. He showed people the light, right? But he could do a lot of fantastical things, couldn't he? Why can't you? Oh, because that's covered in the witchcraft section, even though it doesn't really specify the difference in witchcraft and being Christ-like. You see what I'm saying? Now I can manipulate the Bible and say it said be Christ-like. Jesus turned water into wine. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to do that too. He could walk on water. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. I'm gonna try that too. See what I'm saying? So anybody can manipulate words that leave a lot out. I'm of the mind, I don't know, and this is just a theory. This ain't got nothing to do with the sins that Christians have committed over the generations and centuries and however long, modernism. But this is more so about how I feel like the Bible is incomplete. I don't think it's complete. Why would we assume that we have the whole book? I think most people would, like me saying this to some people, they'd be like, yeah, no shit. But to the masses, they don't think that. They think it's perfect. So while I also think the Bible's incomplete, I also think there's a lot of religions and different viewpoints and things that had credibility, that have value, that got left out, that aren't accounted for. Like the Bible is almost solely focused on the Middle East and like a little bit like top of Africa. So if the Bible is so much heavily focused on this one section of the world, I guess people in North America weren't talking to Jesus and God. I guess people from Canada didn't know God. I guess people from South America didn't know God. I guess, like, people will say, like, the Irish are represented in Galatians, but like, okay, where? Like, a little bit, maybe. Celts, it says it maybe once or twice. Like, come on, bro. That's, again, how much of the world isn't represented in that book, but it's complete, it's done, it's finished. So we have all the knowledge, we have everything. We don't. And it doesn't make the people that aren't in the Bible any less important. So it's just a lot. You deal with a lot. You're dealing with psyops, brainwashing, and ego all at the same time. And that's complicated. And the people in power know that. So they prey on that. They understand that. That's why they breed competition. That's why they do all that. That's why they want them rappers to do all that. That's why they give them all those sponsor deals in the first place. It ain't because, like, think about it. What's the benefit? Well, because they want them to influence y'all to go buy this expensive shit. And they know it works. Otherwise, they wouldn't be paying all that money out to sponsorship. If I'm Gucci, I'm not gonna give a rapper all this money and all these clothes and all this free shit if it's not effective. Because for one thing, he's rich. He can come buy it himself. And he's around the people now that he's going to know what to wear and buy. So I ain't got to worry about it. He's going to show up and he's going to buy the shit. I want him to put the pressure on the poor people that look up to him to buy the expensive shit. And I don't care what they got to do to get it. I don't care who they kill, what drug they sell. I don't give a shit who they scam or who they steal from. Just, I want you to come buy my product. You see what I'm saying? Like, it don't even make no sense. So why wouldn't Christianity be the same concept? Just because it's being marketed to you doesn't mean it's genuine. You see what I'm saying? Just because somebody is marketing God and Christianity to you, it doesn't mean the person that's marketing it to you is being genuine to you. So just be warned. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus and other prophets that never got talked about, never got mentioned, never got acknowledged, because there's a lot of missing literature that we don't have anymore. There's a lot of literature that was never written because a lot of things were word of mouth that we've lost the traditions and we've lost the teachings of because of crusades and nasty things done in the name of Jesus and God. And that's a shame. And I'm not blaming Jesus or God, just like I'm not blaming the entire world of Christianity. But stop being a hypocrite and put your ego to bed, because just saying you're Christian doesn't make you better than anybody else. Just saying you're Christian doesn't mean you know everything. Just being a preacher doesn't mean you're right about the Bible. Because what happens if Jesus Christ came back tomorrow and walked up to you and told you, hey, you're not right about this, and he tried to explain it to you? You probably get mad at him and kick him out your church. So just think about that. I kind of have this thought too. And again, it's just thoughts. How many times has Jesus probably came back already? Do you ever think about it? Like, man, I wonder if Jesus came back already a couple times. Or I wonder if Jesus already came back and we got rid of him. We killed him. We turned our backs on him. We laughed at him. We called him names. We made a meme out of him. We bullied him. You ever think about it? You guys just assume. Like, I don't know if you know this, but we're not that great of people. And we see it on social media all the time. Me and you, one on one, we could be good friends, right? We talk, all that, have good interactions. But then if we're on Facebook together, right? And you see a bunch of people start smearing me on social media, start making fun of me, picking on me, whatever, I become the target of the jokes. 9 times out of 10, you're going to join in or you just going to separate yourself from me altogether. That's how public opinion works. People try to tell y'all about Epstein Island 10, 15, 20 years ago. Didn't nobody listen. Everybody laughed. A couple people hit the blunt and said, man, I don't know. It might be true. I wouldn't put it past them. Ha ha ha. But most people didn't take it serious. Some did. So just remember that shit. And how come people didn't take it serious? Oh, because your favorite talk show host or your favorite celebrity started talking openly about it and turned it into a joke, and you guys bought in with the joke instead of the joke's on you, because that's called plain sight. Same thing, like that's the argument for Trump. Why would he say he was going to expose the Epstein files if he was in them? It's called reverse psychology. It's actually a common term. It's not that groundbreaking. They do it all the time. So you gotta think about it. Why would he have a beauty pageant business? It's kind of weird. Like I have a lot of questions. There's a lot of whys, but doesn't mean anything. It's like a serial killer who likes to go revisit his crime scene. And then the arresting officer says, I caught him at the crime scene. And you be like, well, why would he go back to the crime scene? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, shit don't make sense. It don't mean yes or no. But I find it funny that he's the only one that's being brought up in the files, and he's the only one that's being overlooked. Like he's being set up. Well, shit, then Bill Clinton got set up. All Bill Clinton did was try to give vaccines to people in Africa. He was doing good things. See, this is why people can't do nothing good, because every time they do something good, you want to make up some crazy conspiracy about them when they go do good stuff. See what I mean? It works both ways. It can work both ways. So just don't be careful about that. Don't fall for that. God, Jesus, Christianity, beautiful. But just because somebody says that they're that all of a sudden, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, good for them. But let's not pretend like the government hasn't played on God and Christianity since it started, since it got here. So if you're really a believer, you wouldn't play with that like that. Like that's one of the things people say, don't play with God like that. Don't play with Jesus like that. But our government has literally been doing that since the beginning of time. So don't think just because somebody says that it's a guarantee that they're just the greatest person. Don't even let it affect your opinion of them. You see what I'm saying? If I walk into a store and I buy a soda and I talk to a Muslim and me and this Muslim man have a good conversation, that Muslim man takes care of his kids, he takes care of his wife, he polite, does what he's supposed to, don't hurt nobody, don't bother nobody. You're a good man to me. Just like you could be a Christian, but if you don't do all those things that I just said about this man over here, then you might not be such a great man. Not when it comes to your limitations, but if you're the Christian who, you know, beats your kids, cheats on your wife, lies, makes fun of people, talks shit about everybody in the church when you go home, then I don't give a shit that you're Christian. You're still a piece of shit to me, whether you're Christian or not. Or you're someone who has work to do, you know what I'm saying? And maybe you're using that shit as a crutch and you should get away from it for a little while and go do your shadow work. Because you ain't going to learn about that in the church. They're not going to teach you about that in the church. Work on yourself. When I picture God, and obviously I believe different things. So when I think of God and I think of where I feel the best praying and worshiping, and it's right outside in nature. It's in my bed when I go to sleep before I go to sleep. It's when I'm around my family. See what I mean? When a butterfly comes and sits on my shoulder for a little bit. You guys turned it into a fraternity. And that's weird to me. Much like fraternities. So, again, think about it. To the good Christians who are strict in their beliefs, I support it and I respect it. So don't get me confused. But the ones that are serious are the ones who actually follow, not the ones who just talk about it, not the ones who just go to church for the thing to do because they said they did it. That's not what your spirituality is about. It's not that shallow. It should be deep. It should be one of the most meaningful things you do on this earth. Your spiritual walk. So take it serious. Stop letting these popular people and these government officials trick you and confuse you. Stop letting them shame you. Now that's another one. Stop letting them shame you. Look at them. Who the fuck are they to shame you about anything? So I hope you all found this video well. If you have any questions, comments, any insight on what you think about Christian crusaders and the things Christians have done over the years, or what you think about Christianity and the Bible in general, you drop it in the comments. I'm willing to hear anything. You know what I'm saying? I think all religions have to each his own. Doesn't make no difference to me. I don't know. I wasn't there back then. So as far for all I know, all the books are valid. All the religions are valid. And if you put them all together, you'd have the full book plus whatever's still missing or the Vatican's hiding somewhere. You know what I mean? For all I know, in order to complete it, you put all the books together, and we've just not interpreted any of this shit right. It's been manipulated too much, rewritten too many times, twisted. Who knows? But I don't hate anybody based on what they believe in. And it's not going to change my opinion of you as a person. So that's how I feel about it. So just be careful. Anytime you see somebody pushing something real hard out the blue, start asking questions. All right, I hope y'all enjoyed this. Have a good day.